Hello and welcome to another edition of Conspirator Box Pull List. This is my pull list for the week of January 11th, 2017. Fair-sized week this week, so let's get right into it. First up, we have Action Comics number 971. We continue the Men of Steel story arc. Apparently, Luthor has been found guilty of crimes he has yet to commit. Been really, really good. Been enjoying Action Comics. It's far superior than what it was before, so I'm really happy with it every time it comes out. Next up, we have a new story arc from Scott Snyder in All-Star Batman, and that's Ends of the Earth Part 1. This is issue 6. We have a new artist. Jacques is the artist on this, so I'm super excited about that. The fact that John Romita Jr. is off is a total plus. So if you were not reading that book because of his art, you should hop on issue 6 because it's not. Next up, we have Detective Comics number 948. This starts the Batwoman Begins story arc, which Batwoman will be coming out of the ongoing title, which I'll be getting. So I'm really curious to see how they transition from Detective to having her having her own title. So, but Detective's been really, really great. The Victim Syndicate was a phenomenal story arc. I highly, highly recommend you track down those Victim Syndicate issues and read them. Otherwise, you'll have to wait a little bit, I think until about April, to get volume 2 to get the trade of that. So, next up we have one that I picked up for my daughter, and that's Disney's Frozen, issue 4. We will get to reading it when we get a chance. Next up is a new story arc from The Flash for issue 14. It's Rogues Reloaded, number 1, and we have the return of Captain Cold. And yes, it is Captain Cold with the gun and not the superpowers. So awesome, awesome stuff. Next up, we have more from Hal and the Green Lantern Corps. Bottled Light continues. Lara Flees is back and greedy as ever, so I can't wait to see what transpires in that issue. Next up is another one-shot for the Justice League of America, and that's for Vixen. This is the one of 4 one-shots that are going to come out before the Justice League of America book hits shelves. So I have not yet read the Atom one from last week. It's in my small stack of stuff I still need to read, so hopefully it's good. Next up, we have Justice League vs. Suicide Squad number 4. Yes, it's coming out every week, and it's awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. I enjoyed the last 3 issues. The tie-in issue with Justice League last week was really, really good with Maxwell Lord's kind of origin in the new Rebirth era. So really, really enjoyed that. Next up, we have Ninjak number 23. The 7 Blades of Master Dark story arc starts here. Ninjak has been a really, really solid book, so I'm looking forward to seeing what this next story arc brings us. Next up, we have issue 24 of Outcast, Robert Kirkman's Outcast. I know people have said wonderful things about the TV show. The comic book is great. It's a very slow burn, so single issues might not be the best way for some people to read it. It might be better to read in trade, as in chunks. If you can if you can read it like a first issue for free, I would say check it out. See if you like the first issue. If you do, then make up your mind whether or not you want to do single issue or just go and do trade. Next up, we have Red Hood and the Outlaws number 6. We're gonna figure out what's going on in that book. It's okay. I've been enjoying it for the most part, but I'm curious to see where this book goes after the Black Mask story stuff. So yeah, we shall see. Next up, we have Scooby Apocalypse number 9, and just one of the Hanna-Barbera books that DC's been putting out. It's just really fun, cool stuff with Scooby and the gang. Next up, we have Jason Aaron and Jason Latour's Southern Bastards number 16. Really, really love this book. When it finally comes out, because it's been a weird ass release schedule, I'm always super, super excited to read it. Next up, we have Suicide Squad number 9, which is a tie-in for Justice League versus Suicide Squad. So you might want to check this out if you get a chance. It doesn't actually say tie-in on it like the Justice League one did, but most likely it is. So, and it's been, I think, it was it was advertised as such. So check it out if you're checking out Suicide Squad or Justice League versus Suicide Squad. Next up, we have Superwoman number 6. Curious to see how this story arc ends. I've been really enjoying Superwoman. It's you know, dealing with her anxiety and all that stuff, panicking and taxons, all that. It really kind of hits at a different level of what a superhero deals with on the personal side versus their hero side. So yeah, curious to see what happens. Next up, we have Titans number 7. It looks like Wally is going to be racing Superman in this issue. So hopefully this is one of those nice little, just one-shot, two-shot issues that we kind of get a break from a big story. So I'm really curious to see what happens in Titans number 7. 6 had an interesting word at the end of it that was stated, and that was Manhattan. If you don't know what's going on or haven't been reading Rebirth, Dr. Manhattan is going to play some role. The Watchmen characters hopefully are going to play some role in what's coming up this year for DC and what Johns is supposedly writing. So yeah, Titans is one of those window books that you can kind of, it's dropping hints. Next up, we have Wonder Woman number 14. I still need to read issue 13, but Rucka has been doing an amazing job going back and forth between the past and the present story for Wonder Woman, and it's just been a superb book. I can't give it praise enough, but really enjoying Wonder Woman. Slew of variants this week from DC. I picked up the Action Comics variant for $9.71 by Gary Frank. Awesome stuff there. Jacques did another cover, this time with what looks like a Mr. Freeze mask over the Caped Crusader there. This one is Frank Cavill, or Cavill. Cavill, I don't know. It was okay. If I really had to, I would have probably cut that one out. Detective had its variant for $9.48. Flash had a kind of retro cover here with the Weather Wizard on there, so it was kind of cool stuff. I did actually pick up the one for Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. I have not been picking them up because I'm not impressed with them, but it's got Lara Flores on it, and it's just cool stuff. Vixen, of course, for the Justice League of America Vixen Rebirth issue, had a variant cover that I thought was pretty cool. Justice League vs. Suicide Squad 4, of course, had 2 variant covers. So this is the Amanda Connor one, sorry. And then we, of course, get the Finch variant cover right there. It's Flash versus Captain Boomerang. Red Hood and the Outlaws. Of course, I snagged that one up. I'm probably not going to keep getting the variants on Red Hood and the Outlaws. I don't know if I'm going to keep going with that book, but we shall see. Suicide Squad 9 had one, and it is Lobo reading the same issue over, and so it does the whole mirror thing. So yeah, I thought that one was pretty interesting. Of course, we have the Superwoman variant there. Good stuff. Titans had a pretty cool one, so I snagged that one up. And last but not least, the awesome Wonder Woman with the revival artist, and every single time I forget her name. So that's it for my pull list. I did pick up an oversized issue for Dark Knight 3, The Master Race. This is the hardcover of the single issue with the Jim Lee sketch variant. And it's making that nice little picture on the side. So that's out today as well. Let's get to the read list. So, here is my read list. Again, these are the titles that I bring home to read to stay current and caught up on more books than what I pull. So first up, we have The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, issue 3. The first 2 issues of this were cool. I enjoyed them, so I'm going to keep going with it. Next up, we have Captain America Steve Rogers, or Steve Rogers Captain America, number 9. Nick Spencer is apparently putting Maria Hill on trial, so we shall see what transpires in that. Next up, we have Inhumans vs. X-Men, number 2. Not too excited to read that book. It's kind of it's funny that Inhumans versus X-Men is coming out at the same time. Justice League versus Suicide Squad is coming out, and Justice League versus Suicide Squad is doing the weekly thing. So it's really nice to kind of get this book just boom, boom, boom out and in your hands and done. Whereas Inhumans versus X-Men is probably going to draw out and last a little bit longer. So interest might wane. Next up, we have Jessica Jones #4. First 3 issues I enjoyed, so I'm going to keep going with it. Okay stuff so far. I've heard mixed reviews on it from people. I think people who read Alias kind of really had kind of a predisposition going into Jessica Jones. So I'm going to see how well I like it going forward. Next up is The Mighty Thor, #15. This starts the Asgard Shi'ar War. It's not #1. It's #15. Aaron's just been doing an amazing job with The Mighty Thor and The Unworthy Thor, and it's just really, really solid stuff. I highly recommend you go back and pick up the trades of his Thor stuff and then his Mighty Thor stuff with Female Thor. Just good stuff overall. Next up, we have Star Wars Poe Dameron, issue 10. Poe is in a predicament again, seems like, but just really, really fun book. Really great to see the pilot that we got out of Force Awakens and some of his antics before that. And finally on the read list is Uncanny X-Men #17. This is the Inhumans versus X-Men crossover tie-in kind of book. I've read Extreme X-Men and the previous Uncanny X-Men tie-in books, and they're okay. I'm kind of just getting bored with the whole Inhumans and X-Men kind of feud. But we'll see if something catches my interest with this issue. So that's it this week for my pull list. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let your friends know, please. Spread the word and get more people watching, because, it's always fun to have more people watching. And again, leave comments down in the window below, what you're picking up for the week. Any questions, comments, all that wonderful stuff, go ahead and leave it down there. You can follow me on Twitter. My handle is @BrockSager. You can also listen to me on the Comic Conspiracy podcast, which we just recorded episode number 293 this evening, and there will be a link in the description below for that. So check that out. We discussed Constantine, the animated thing, Marvel's bullshit with getting rid of the digital code for the book that you actually bought, and a couple other things, and answered some questions. So you can check us out there. You can help me and my fellow conspirators out through Patreon at www.patreon.com/comicconspiracy. For as little as $1 a month, you get access to Bryce Brieflies if we get any up. We're hopefully getting up one soon. And Charlie and my co-hosts on the Comic Conspiracy, Charlie and Toby, do a roundup podcast on that's only available to Patreon subscribers, about just regular kind of TV and what they're watching and all that stuff. So hopefully they'll get one up soon. But to all our Patreon backers, thank you. We do appreciate it. You help us with with hosting and food and getting stuff so we can have shit to read, so we can review it and all that wonderful stuff. So yeah, again, to all our Patreon backers, thank you. That's it. We won't be recording an episode of the Comic Conspiracy next week, but I will have a pull list episode up as normal next week, so be on the lookout for that. I did unbox a couple of my statues, so hopefully I'll be able to get those up for you to enjoy as well. I'm also going to hopefully be doing a kind of a PSA video here soon about a topic that pertains to the comic book industry, and especially to your local comic book shop. So be on the lookout for that. Hopefully I can get it done. Fingers are crossed. So that's it for this week. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next week.